All right, everybody, we are now on to questions 18 and 19, both of which are related to the passage. And once again, please consider this habit of reading the question first before bothering to read the passage, because you don't know what you're reading the passage for. Okay, well, looking at the question, it says, which of the sentence strongly suggests that speech is persuasive in its intent? In other words, trying to be manipulative. Well, what we need to do then is look at sentences 1, 2, 4, and 5 to see which one might be the most manipulative of all. So look at sentence number 1. While Washington, D.C. does not send delegates to the House of Representatives, this official cannot cast a vote on the floor of the House of Representatives or committee, leaving D.C. residents without an effective voice in Congress. Well, that's just a plain fact. I mean, that representative from the District of Columbia has no vote. If you have no vote, then you really have limited voice, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. So sentence 1 is more factual and perhaps dispassionate. It is not as persuasive, maybe, as something else. So I would be looking at eliminating that one. 2. Like Americans living in every other part of the country, however, residents of this district pay federal income taxes. Very factual. This is quite dispassionate. I don't feel manipulated at all. Sentence 2 then is not so persuasive. Let's look at 4. It is a bitter irony that the only other U.S. citizens who are denied full voting rights are convicted felons. That's pretty emotional. So you have legal residents of the District of Columbia who send a representative to the U.S. House of Representatives, and that representative can't vote. And then the only other people who are denied a voice, so to speak, are people who are convicted felons. Now, using that type of comparison is quite emotional. And so sentence 4 looks like it is probably going to be the correct one. 5, some D.C. residents now compare their plight to that of pre-Revolutionary War colonists, etc. Well, that's true. I mean, if you have any sense of current events, that has taken place. And so sentence 5 is really not calling anybody to action, but just stating maybe some factual sentiments that exist. So C is the correct answer. It is the most emotional, most sort of quote-unquote manipulative, not necessarily in a bad way, but it just seems to be the most persuasive out of all, or trying to be convincing in some way. Now, what they want you to do after that is to look at the question number 19. Which of the following research questions would provide the most appropriate starting point for an objective investigation of issues raised in this excerpt? Well, you have to find an objective question, dispassionate, not so involved. And so out of all of these answers, let's look at the correct one first. It's D. What arguments are raised by opponents for congressional representation for D.C.? And why would that be a good research question? Well, because the passage seems to be calling for, or trying to persuade us that D.C. representatives do need a representative, So you'll want to look at a research question that would be dispassionate, looking at arguments against doing that. So D would be correct. C is related to taxation, and that's really not what the passage was about. Are there any groups of citizens other than felons who are denied the voting rights? Well, I suppose you could look at it. But you can come up with very limited responses, perhaps just resident or legal aliens, green card holders certainly, don't have the same representation since they themselves can't vote until they become full citizens. But there, you answered it. That's not much of a research question. Are there any other respects in which D.C. residents lack full citizenship or rights? Well, that's not going to yield as much information as something like D would, and that's why D would be a better research question according to the test makers. Okay, well, I hope you found that one helpful. Let's go on.